Welcome to your Wednesday, March 23rd yoga practice. Toby and I are glad you're here. This week we are exploring the third Yama, the idea of Asteya or non-stealing. Our quote is, "Time well spent adds to life well lived." Comes from Martin Ugwu. I'm sorry when I butcher the names. Time well spent adds to life well lived. So when we think of stealing, a lot of times we might immediately think of stealing possessions or stealing things. But if you consider it, we can also be careful not to steal people's time. So the first thing that comes to mind for me with that is when someone calls you and you pick up the phone and they dive right in before they even check in with you. So a simple way that we can practice not stealing others' time might be whenever you are engaging with someone, just say, "Hey, is now a good time? Do you have a moment right now to chat?" So I'm sure there's lots of other ways to look at that, but hopefully that's a helpful concept for you. Today's our heart opening practice. So if you'd like, you can set up either a pillow, you can fold your blanket, or today you can set your blocks with the blanket for a reclined heart opening posture. So we'll go ahead and get that set up and then we'll drop in with an Om. Today I am going to use 2 blocks with my blanket over them. This will be a more intense reclined heart opener, so you can try it, and if it doesn't feel right, we can always adjust to just lie on the blankets. So once you have your props set up, we'll land back in our easy seat, giving ourselves a moment to drop in, taking a few full breaths. Time well spent adds to life well lived. So you might consider how you're spending your time right now in this moment. Perhaps acknowledging how it adds value to your life, choosing to spend your time at least 30 minutes of the day tending to yourself, practicing mindfulness, in a way creating more time by becoming more aware of it. If you'd like to chant Om, let's draw our hands together in front of the heart. Inhale deeply. Release your hand. Flex your spine, inhaling, drawing your heart forward, shoulder blades slide together. And exhale, draw the heart back in space, shoulder blades sliding apart. Keep your core muscles engaged to support you as you inhale, flexing forward, and exhale, flexing back. You can lift your chin as you inhale and tuck your chin towards chest as you exhale. And if holding on to the shins feels a little too scrunched in your chest, you can bring your hands out to your knees. Inhaling and exhaling just like we do in cow and cat. And feel free to stop along the way if you find a sweet spot that feels good to breathe into. Maybe you add some gentle neck rolls. Noticing what's here now. A few more breaths in this way. And as you're ready, let's switch the cross of our legs. Inhale, reach your arms slowly out and up. You might wiggle your fingers. Let this be an experience in and of itself, stretching the connective tissue of the arms. Exhale, cactus your arms like goalpost. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your chin. Exhale, round your spine, forearms and hands coming together. Inhale, open your arms out wide and float them up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, find a back bend, drawing the elbows and arms back in space. Exhale, bring the forearms, hands together, chin towards chest. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Get really long through the torso. Exhale, bring the arms into the goddess shape. Inhale, find a back bend. Draw the arms back behind you. Exhale, round your spine, forearms together, chin towards chest. One more time. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, find a back bend. Exhale, round the spine. And release your arms. Now we'll transition to our reclined, supported back bend. Remember that if the blocks are too much, we can always just use the blanket as we often do. But if you're game to try it with the blocks today, we'll recline over them and then scoot yourself so that your shoulder blades are right on the top edge of the blocks so that you can really arch your spine and let your head rest on the ground. Right away, you might feel this is too much, in which case just remove the blocks, keep the folded blanket or a pillow. I'm going to keep my knees bent. It's a little more gentle that way. And open the arms out wide. If there's any sharp pain, any pinching sensation, please undo what you've done and go back to the safety zone. You can let your feet come out as wide as the edge of the mat, letting the knees knock together. Maybe you send your legs long. Wherever you go with it, we'll begin to really send the breath to the front body, filling up the chest, filling the breath up all the way to the collarbones. Notice how the ribs splay out, stretching these little intercostal muscles. And on your exhale, you just soften and let the breath flow back out of you. And then perhaps for the next breath in, you imagine sending it to the back body, feeling how the body presses into the props as you inhale. And feeling the softening with the exhale. About 3 more breaths. Noticing if you're holding tension anywhere in the body, you might be able to let go of it. Savoring one more full breath. And when you come to your next inhale, tuck your chin towards your chest, prop yourself up on an arm to roll off of the props. We will set them out of the way, moving the blocks towards the top of the mat. And then return to be flat on your back, just for the sake of neutralizing the spine a bit after that back bend. A few breaths here. You're welcome to let your legs shift side to side. You might do that slowly, or maybe with a bit more gusto, taking gentle twists. When you're ready, draw the knees in towards your chest, rock side to side. You're welcome to roll onto one side and meet us in forward fold. Or if you're feeling squirrely today, tuck your chin towards your chest and start to rock like a little ball. And eventually your feet will press up down to the earth. You can push your hands to the earth to make your way into forward fold. It doesn't need to be graceful, but it can be fun. And let yourself arrive in Uttanasana, forward fold, taking it in a way that feels good to your body. So maybe you bring your feet a little wider than hips distance. Maybe you bend your knees a little more generously. You might shake and nod your head. Another breath or two here. Interlace your hands and make a little basket behind your head. So adding a little weight, adding a little more support of gravity, lengthening the spine, decompressing. Keeping the hands interlaced, release them from the back of your head. So knuckles on the ground. Inhale, rise up with a long spine. Flip the palms to face away from you and reach your arms forward and up overhead. If this is too much for your shoulders, you can just release the hands. As you arrive standing, reach the palms towards the sky a little more. Maybe your shoulders almost touch your ears. Maybe here you take a bit more of a back bend, pressing your hips forward, arching your spine, lifting your heart towards the sky. One more breath in. On your exhale, release your hands, long spine, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift halfway, long spine, flat back there like you could put a tray on it. On your exhale, fold forward. Interlace your hands. Let's take the non-dominant way of doing it, so switch the interlace. On your inhale, rise up with a long spine, palms flipped away from you, reaching up, up, up. Settling in for a breath or two, lengthen your low back, palms or hands lifting towards the sky. Maybe you find a bit of a back bend, pressing the hips forward. Go ahead and engage your gluteal muscles. Keep the low back long, big breath in. Exhale, come back through neutral. Sweep the arms out wide, folding forward. Inhale, lift halfway, long spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, rise all the way up, reaching out and up. Maybe this time coming to your tippy toes. Exhale, feet on the earth, hands to the heart. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, hinge forward. Hands touch down, step your right foot way back in space. You might pad under the knee if you like that. Take a breath or two in high runner's lunge, seeing how long your spine can be as the crown of your head pulls forward, the heel of your right foot presses back, the left knee is over the left ankle. One more breath, and on your exhale, lower your right knee. You might bring your blocks to a higher setting, stacking your shoulders over your hips as best you can, and option to bend your right knee. Option to reach your right hand back in space. You might catch the ankle. Maybe here you grab your strap, and you can loop the strap around your back ankle. Staying for several more breaths, so pad under the knee if you're wishing you had. Notice if your shoulders are out of alignment, so there might be a tendency for the right shoulder to be pulling back in space. Totally okay. You might just see if you can guide that right shoulder more towards the front. So shoulders are squared, hips are squared. Maybe if this is going well, you can reach your left hand back in space, either grabbing the strap or the foot or ankle. Notice where you're feeling sensation and imagine sending your next full breath in to that area. You might find a bit more of a back bend here, kicking your foot into the hands or strap. From wherever you've gone, we'll slowly begin to release. I definitely like to use the blocks to carry some of my weight as I transition the knee and touch the toes down. Plant your hands on either side of the left foot and step yourself back into plank pose. You can go right into child's pose if you like. You can lower your knees if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll breathe another full slow breath in plank pose. Lots of energy through the whole body. Push the ground away, core muscles engaged. Tailbone lengthening back towards your heels. On your next inhale, come forward on your tippy toes. Exhale, lower all the way down. Point your toes back. Interlace your hands behind your head. And on an inhale, lift your heart any amount. It doesn't have to be a big show. Lifting your heart, press your head into your hands. Draw your elbows back in space so shoulder blades will slide together. Lengthen your low back. That might lower your height a little. That's okay. Press the tops of your feet into the earth. One more breath in. Maybe you catch a little more lift. And exhale, lower down. You can make a pillow for your head if you like with your hands. You might shimmy your hips side to side. You might bend your knees and let the legs fall side to side. A few recovery breaths here. As you're ready, the toes touch down on the earth. Engage the legs. Your knees might lift off of the earth depending on your body. Hands come back, fingertips under shoulders, arms hug to the side body. Big breath in, total breath out, then push up. Take a breath in this strong plank. Another full breath in, and on your exhale, find downward facing dog. You can stay in downward facing dog, or if you'd like, lower your elbows to the earth, keeping them right under the shoulders or shoulder width apart. And then let your head hang heavy, or maybe the crown of your head comes to the earth, exploring dolphin pose. 3 to 5 more breaths in dolphin or downward facing dog. Wherever you are going with it, let's imagine engaging the abdominal muscles to help us lift the hips a little higher. And notice if the breath has been compromised, and let's try to keep it nice and full. Regardless of which shape you're in, check in with your hands. Root into the fingertips and the inner line of your hands. And again, regardless of which shape you chose, imagine internally rotating your thighs. So imagine the inner thighs spiraling towards each other. One more breath. And then we'll all find our way to child's pose, Balasana. Let's give our shoulders a break by bringing the arms back down by our sides. You might rock your head side to side, open and close your jaw. Full breaths. Noticing where you feel the breath move in your body. And when you're ready, reach your arms up overhead, tuck your toes, full breath in. As you breathe out, return to downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right leg to the sky, three-legged dog. On your next inhale, look between your hands, and when you're ready, step or swing the right foot to meet the right thumb, transitioning into high runner's lunge on this side. Staying for a few more breaths, long spine, the crown of the head to the heel of the left foot. Lots of length there. The right knee is over the right ankle. The breath is full. As you're ready, tap the left knee down. Maybe you add a cushion under it. You can bring if you're using blocks, bring the hands back. Hands under shoulders, shoulders over hips. Perhaps here you bend the left knee. Keep in mind this is just an option. Particularly if you are bending the left knee, find a little bit more length through the torso. This is a lot of opening on the front hip flexors. And maybe bring your left hand back in space. You could also loop a strap over the ankle. And after a breath or two, check in. Notice if the left shoulder is really pulling back in space. It's okay, but if possible, try to square the shoulders towards the top of the mat. So shifting the left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. Same story with the hips. And if you're going for this, then perhaps you release the right hand and see if it can also hold the left ankle or strap. As we stay for a few more breaths, you might imagine kicking the foot back in space, helping to lift your heart a little bit more. Maybe you can find a little more space in the low back, lengthening the spine, lifting from the heart, maybe lifting the gaze. It's okay if you fall out. One more breath. And slowly, slowly we'll release, tapping the left foot down. Plant your hands on either side of the right foot, full breath in. Breathing out, return to plank pose. Inhale, exhale. Inhale forward on your tippy toes and exhale, lower all the way down. Point your toes back in space. Interlace your hands. Switch the interlace then, so non-dominant. Bring the hands behind your head. Forehead to the earth. Before we lift up this time, let's really engage the core and lengthen your low back. So you might feel your thighs and your pubic bone press into the mat differently or more. Press the tops of your feet into the earth. Get really firm through the lower body. And on your inhale, lift your heart any amount. It might be a small, small amount. Press the head back into the hands, lifting and lengthening. Arms open wide. Try to draw the elbows back in space, back behind your ears. Maybe you start to lift your gaze any amount. One more full cycle of breath here. And exhale to lower down. You can make a pillow for your head, shimmy your hips, give yourself a couple breaths of recovery. As you're ready, bring your hands back under your shoulders, fingertips under shoulders, tuck your toes, engage your legs so the knees and thighs might lift off of the earth a bit. Inhale, exhale, push the ground away, pushing up. Inhale here. Exhale, downward facing dog or dolphin pose. Just about 3 breaths, whichever you choose. From downward facing dog, lift your left heel towards the sky, three-legged dog. On your next inhale, look forward between your hands, core muscles engaged. Exhale, step or swing that left foot to meet the left thumb. Inhale here. Exhale, step the right foot forward, and we land in Uttanasana, forward fold. On your next breath in, rise all the way up, long spine, reaching out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart, and then hands to your hips. With your thumbs, you might imagine pressing your low back down. As you do that, you might feel the front hip points lift, core muscles engaged. Start carrying the weight into your right leg, engaging your right gluteal muscles, left foot floating off of the earth perhaps, and you might stay right here. This is already a good lot of work and effort. So if you want to stay here, then you might explore finding just a mini back bend from this space. If this is working for you, you can keep your right hand on the hip and bend your left leg, and do it in a way that the left knee stays in alignment with the right knee. So the left heel is coming back behind you, coming towards your hip. If this is going well, release your left hand. Maybe you find the left ankle. If you realize this isn't going to work, you can also grab your strap. Breathing and standing tall. Anchor your left knee down towards the earth. So we're feeling hopefully a big stretch over the front of the left hip. You might stay just like this, or maybe you start to kick your left foot into your left hand. Transitioning into Nadaranjasana, dancer pose, you can release your right hand, perhaps reaching to the distance, like you are offering something. Breathe fully, and you can explore this shape from a more standing neutral pose. You don't necessarily have to tip forward, torso parallel to the earth. Another breath or two, noticing what's happening in the right foot. As you're ready, release the left foot back to the earth if you lifted it. Pause for a moment, noticing the sensations in your body. And then if you're like me, let's give the right leg some love. Maybe squeeze and release the calf, the thigh, the glutes. And then return to mountain pose with hands on hips. Stand really tall, core engaged. Start shifting the weight into your left leg, feeling your left gluteal muscles really fire up. The right foot floats off of the earth, perhaps. And depending on how it's going, you might bend your right knee, bringing the right heel back in space. The right knee stays in alignment with the left knee. Depending on how this is going, you might throw the strap back there or reach your right hand to catch the right ankle. And then pause. Drop the right knee towards the earth. This helps keep our hips in neutral alignment. There's a tendency for the right hip to hike up. Check in with the foundation of the left foot. Imagine dropping into all four corners of the foot, not gripping with the toes. And if this is going well, then you might kick the right foot into the right hand, release the left hand to reach forward, and explore dancer pose. Arching the spine, lifting your heart, breathing fully. Sometimes it's helpful for me to imagine hugging the legs together so that the right knee is not splaying out to the right. A few more breaths. Enjoy another full cycle of breath. And as you're ready, return to stand, setting the right foot down, pausing to notice. Good. Soften your knees and take a little bounce. And let's make our way to our seat and roll right onto your spine. Open your arms out wide, full breath in. And as you breathe out, let your legs fall to the right. Breathing in, return the legs to neutral. And as you exhale, let the legs fall to the left. Breathing in, return to neutral, and send the arms and legs long as you settle into Shavasana. Now today is Wednesday, so we do offer a meditation practice. If you don't have time for that today, then you're welcome to hop off anytime. Otherwise, settling in for a nice Shavasana, being supported by the earth. Noticing how it feels to be held, to not have work to do. Time well spent adds to life well lived. Notice if you've been carried away with thoughts. And then you might notice that you are the observer of these thoughts. You can imagine yourself like a solid mountain. And the thoughts are clouds floating around it. You are unchanging. You are not those thoughts. As you're ready, slowly invite movement back into your body. There's no rush here. Eventually, we'll make our way back to an easy seat. You might keep your your eyes closed as you transition. Or maybe you soften your gaze, looking down your cheeks. Sit tall. Notice how you feel in this moment. Here, if you'd like, we can practice Vajrapradama Mudra, interlacing our hands and then just slightly bringing the index fingers towards each other, thumbs point up, and placing this mudra over the center of our chest, our heart space. This mudra of self-worth, feeling and knowing the truth of our own value. And you might think to yourself, I have what I need, and I appreciate what I have. I have what I need, and I appreciate what I have. And noticing if this statement feels true to you. Exploring this concept of Asteya or non-stealing. Generally speaking, stealing will come from a sense of lack. So when we pause to recognize the abundance that already exists in our lives, we'll know that we have enough, and enough is a feast. I have what I need, and I appreciate what I have. And if that doesn't feel true, or even if it does, with your next inhale, you might consider how abundant this oxygen is that we breathe in. The oxygen that travels through our bloodstream, that animates us. In abundant supply, we have what we need. We appreciate what we have. Follow the in-breath and the out-breath. If the mind feels very chatty and busy, it's perfectly normal. If the mantra is working for you, you might inhale, I have what I need. And exhale, I appreciate what I have. This affirmation of abundance, of enough. You can release your hands at any time if you'd like. We might keep resting the hands over the heart space. I have what I need. I appreciate what I have. If this statement begins to really resonate with us, and it might allow us to be a bit more resourceful. recognizing that we have what we need in any given moment without searching outside of ourselves. What abundant resources are available to us. Recognizing abundance in this way could support us being more creative and more at peace or fulfilled. I have what I need. I appreciate what I have. Breathing deeply into the heart space with this mantra of gratitude. I appreciate what I have. Anchoring to the statement or to the breath. Noticing when the mind wanders away. Recognizing the choice to return again and again to the practice. I have what I need. I appreciate what I have. As you're ready, take a slow, full breath in, sipping the air in through your nostrils if you can, as much as you can. So when you feel full, you might pause and then sip, sip, sip a little more air in, even a little more. And as you're ready, you can release the hands, release the breath, maybe sigh. Sitting tall. Notice how you feel in this moment. Remember that any sense of wellness you've cultivated, any sense of peace that you feel right now, that is within you. And the more we practice tapping into it, the more accessible it is during the challenging times. Time well spent adds to life well lived. Thank you for choosing to spend your time in this way. If you'd like to close by chanting Om, I invite you to draw your hands together in front of your heart, keeping in mind that we can consider this sound as representing the sound of creation, life itself, transformation, the full existence of life. Inhale for Om. Thank you. Thank you, Toby.